Quick introduction, I'm Lightning, and I've been the editor for Ghost in the Shell Abridged for about 6 years. Now, because of the show, I've been knee-deep in the Ghost in the Shell world, and Standalone Complex in particular, for quite a long time. I know that show backwards and forwards. I can tell you which episode is which, identify any scrap of music. Hell, I can tell you how many different sound effects they had for a door being opened. It's like 4. The point is, I've been deeply immersed in the Ghost in the Shell world for a bit longer than most people. And because of that, I'd really like to share my thoughts on this upcoming Ghost in the Shell live-action film. And while Major's casting has certainly been the most popular of topics to discuss, I feel like there's a lot of other things that could certainly be discussed more, such as the supporting cast, the music, the directing, and, God forbid, the story. I've waited till now to make this video because when discussions first started, things were very emotionally charged. We were talking about very sensitive topics like racial bias, and we had very little information to go on at the time. But I feel like the emotional outcry has gone down a bit since then, and we have a lot more information to look at now. But hey, let's address the elephant in the room first. I know most of you are probably waiting for me to talk about Scarlett Johansson playing Major, so real quick, I will sum up my thoughts for you. Does whitewashing still exist in the film industry? Somewhat, yeah. Are there other Asian actresses they could have chosen over Scarlett? Sure. Do I think Scarlett's going to do a bad job? No. See, I'm someone who's very cynical when it comes to Hollywood, and one of the biggest things that I've learned from studying under Hollywood veterans in my professional life is that when a lot of money is on the line, Hollywood is terribly scared of taking risks. And to some degree, it's a bit reasonable, because they're making big investments of like millions of dollars and shit. I think there's whitewashing in the industry, but it's not as racially charged as people like to perpetrate that it is. For a film it deems risky, Hollywood wants a safe actor or actress to cast. Someone who's proven to sell movies for them. Someone with experience. For example, they put Tom Cruise in every blockbuster action movie, not because he's white per se, but because he has a proven track record of being a likable action star. Hell, Will Smith can sell those action movies fine too, and he's not white. Let me put it to you this way. If Major's character called for an Asian male instead of an Asian female, then hands down, they would have casted Jackie Chan or Jet Li, and that'd be it. Maybe even John Cho if they need someone younger. And the reason is purely because they've all been proven action movie material in the past. There is no big-name Asian actresses to pull from here, so they look at who they do have. Seriously, ethnicities aside, there's such a shallow pool of female action stars in general, and Scarlett's one of the only ones that you can just put her name on the poster and expect to sell tickets. And yeah, the fact that we're in this situation right now where there's no established talent to pull from is pretty sad. But that's just where we're at right now. And I know you'd wish they'd take a chance on an up-and-coming Asian actress for the role. Maybe someone like the chick from Pacific Rim, who is Japanese. But the problem is they're spending so much money on this risky film already. They're not going to chance giving the star role to someone who isn't experienced and popular already. Could What's-Her-Face be the next big action star? Sure. But she needs a bigger resume before they let her play Major. So yeah, because I'm a Hollywood cynic, I could deal with ScarJo's casting just fine when I heard about it. But the thing I kept saying was that they better have some solid Asian acting talent to announce next. And guess what? We got Beat Takeshi, motherfuckers! Fucking Battle Royale, the Zatoichi, Vic from MXC, renowned game developer, fucking Vic from MXC is playing Aramaki, damn it. This dude is awesome, and he is absolutely the sort of veteran actor needed for the role. 10 out of 10 casting. Gold star. Now let's look at the other members of Section 9, at least what we know about them so far. So for Bato, we've got this guy, Pylo Asbaek. Pylo Asbaek. Pylo Asbaek. Pylo Asbaek. Pylo Asbaek. Pylo Asbaek, baby. Jesus Christ, this name. We really haven't seen much of him yet as an actor. And by we, I mean most Western audiences. He's been in 2 episodes of Game of Thrones and... Lucy? Oh shit, he might have some existing chemistry with Scarlett to work off of. Okay. Who was he? The mafia boss? Her cop buddy? Oh. The guy who dies in the first 5 minutes. Well, he did do pretty alright during those first 5 minutes. Look, he hasn't shown to be definitively good or bad yet. He's unproven. This will be the biggest role he's had so far. Now, yes, I know he's white, but I feel like that's fine for Bato specifically. For one thing, Bato's physical appearance is based off of Steven Seagal. And, for fuck's sakes, he will have no eyes! You will hardly be able to tell. Now, I'm super interested in knowing more about the rest of the cast, but we've been told fuck all about them. We got some leaked cast photos and like one shot of Togusa in the trailer. So, just based on visuals. Togusa. This is a terrible excuse for a mullet, people. But hey, he's got a good actor playing him. He was the evil businessman in The Dark Knight, is how I remember him. So yeah, looks off, but decent casting. Ishikawa. Looks fine, man. Not Asian, but he fucking looks the part, no doubt. He's another relatively unproven actor, but this isn't a hard role, so I think it's fine. Saito. Bam! There we go. Hair could be a bit shorter, but I'm fine with it. Looks good. Boma. Why is nobody talking about this fucking googly-eyed black man? Let's go! For real, though, these eyes look so silly to me. I get it. It's hard to translate the prosthetic eyes to live action and all, but I really hope it looks a bit better on screen. Alright, next thing on the agenda is the music. It's been one of the cornerstones of the GITS franchise since the very first film. I don't think about that movie without hearing Kenji Kawai's Bells in Choir, and I don't think about Standalone Complex without hearing the beautiful compositions of Yoko Kanno, or the powerful voice of Origa. God rest her soul. There is absolutely big shoes to fill, and to fill them, they've hired on Clint Mansell. You may have heard his work in Requiem for a Dream, Black Swan, or Mass Effect 3. His work sounds quite beautiful, though I do have a personal gripe that a lot of it lacks the strong melodies that Yoko Kanno's work had. But hey, the fact is we're in skilled hands for the music. But now let's talk about the guy who was masterminding this whole project, Rupert Sanders. This is the decision that's had me worried for quite a while. Ghost in the Shell is only the second film that he's directed, the first one being the 2012 film Snow White and the Huntsman. And while it did fine at the box office, I personally thought it was kind of shit. My main problems with it being the script and some hammy acting. Now, having a bunch of unproven acting talent is fine if you have some veteran leadership guiding them, and we don't really have that here. He does seem quite comfortable working with special effects, and I will say, based on the trailers, it looks pretty good so far. But that's kind of what I'm getting at here. Based on the director's skill set and experience, and what we've seen from the trailers so far, it feels that we're being set up for a very visually strong film, but weaker character performances. And for a Ghost in the Shell film, that worries me. Great visuals are definitely a must for nailing this film, hence why it needed the Hollywood budget in the first place. But it's also going to take great acting to sell these characters well, and I feel like that's where we're likely to get let down. Scarlet knows she has a lot to prove here, so I feel like she's going to rise to the challenge. But whether or not those other actors can nail their role will depend on how well Rupert can direct it out of them. Also, it matters a lot what dialogue they have to work with, and that brings us to the story. Now, when all you have to work with is online plot summaries and trailers, this is the area with the most guesswork involved. It feels to me like they're focusing a lot on Major and going deep into her past. Now, every GITS adaptation has had their own spin on Major's past, but I think it is a mistake to have that be the focus of the overall story. Major is someone who's always defined her identity by her actions. She shows you who she is over time. You need to have an external conflict to focus on, and then use that to show us more about Major's character. Now, the external conflict is hard to clearly discern so far. The villain for this film is Kuze, though they've already stated that he's not a straight interpretation of Kuze from the show. They've said he's more of a mix of Kuze with the Puppet Master, and on paper, that sounds great. But the thing with both of those characters is that they have their own agenda in their respective stories, and in both occasions the team just happens to get mixed up in their drama. But I don't know, in the trailers I'm not really feeling that. It feels like this Kuze is much more of a straight antagonist than either the Puppet Master or the original Kuze was. But this could just be how the trailers are cut, to not bore us with details about what Kuze's after, or what Section 9's mission is in this film. But yeah, my hope is that they'll stay focused on that conflict, and not turn it into some pseudo-superhero origin story about Major discovering who she is, and Kuze just a big arch-villain looking to take over the world. Ghost in the Shell as a franchise has always kept its roots in the philosophical, preferring to use stories to ask questions of us, the audience, about a range of deeper subjects involving technology. What does it mean to be human in an increasingly digital world? What sort of things are ethical or moral to do in a futuristic world where everything is possible? This is where the series has shined, when the story isn't centered around the characters but uses them as pieces to tell a grander story. By doing this, we don't get as personally attached to the characters as with other films or shows, but we gain such a deeper appreciation for this world that they're a part of, and for the story that they tell us. I think it's too much to hope that this film can translate all that magic to the mainstream audience, but I hope it'll at least try. I don't know what exactly I'm expecting to get from this movie, but the thing is, it's not made for me. It's not made for hardcore fans. It's made to create new fans. And my hope is that everyone going in with no knowledge of GITS will come out of it wanting to know a little bit more about this series that has become so close to my heart. Until then, here's hoping it's good. Chris LC, signing off. Hey everyone, hope you liked the video. If you're interested in something more lighthearted, maybe check out some episodes of Ghost in the Shell Abridged. Just to note, me and some of the guys are going to go see the film tomorrow night. We'll probably do something at some point, talking about our thoughts on the flick. But yeah, take it easy.